I've got to come clean with you guys. I'm an idiot, and I have failed you. But I think I can fix the second one. Probably wondering what I mean when I say I failed you. Well, here's the thing. For those familiar with St. Louis, you know Commerce Bank, which means you also know the plague that is these EVgo chargers. These old 50 kilowatt, expensive, hardly ever working EVgo chargers. And so, as I'll show here when I pull up PlugShare, like especially where I'm at near O'Fallon, when you start looking at the pips for EVgo, you see Wentzville, O'Fallon, St. Peters, Maryland Heights, you know, they all just come up Commerce Bank, so you just ignore them. And that's usually as far as I ever got. And then all of a sudden, I notice there's another pip by this one. And I look it up, and it's right there across the freaking street from this 50 kilowatt is a full 350 Ultium EVgo station. And the pip's been hidden behind the Commerce Bank pip this whole time. So I'm like, wait a minute. So I start looking at the other pips, and it's like, there's like five of these in the area. So I'm like, how did I not notice? Obviously, because they were kind of hidden behind these garbage 50 kilowatt stations. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm actually gonna head across the street to the good charger, check it out. And I'm gonna check out two of the other ones because three of them are about the same form factor, but this one, the next one are different than the other three. So I don't want this to drag on forever. So I'm not gonna go to all 5 stations. So that's what I mean by I failed you. There's these Ultium stations. I've never used a regular EVgo Ultium station before. And they've been hiding here in plain sight, literally across the street here in Maryland Heights from another station. And I also just noticed, spin around right there, there's a coffee shop. I need an Americano. Go grab some coffee and then head over to check out the charger. Glad I spotted this. Check Google, really good ratings, really looking forward to it. I guess it's all Ethiopian blend coffees. So head on in to Ethio Coffee and get myself a drink. All right, got myself an Americano and a pound of freshly roasted beans from Ethio Coffee. Once again, it's good, it's real good. So if you're in the area, come check them out. Now let's get over to that charger and see what it can do. I got pulled in here. It's actually a busy station. It's good to see it getting used. So let's get plugged in here, see how she ramps up, and then do a little bit of a site tour. Unfortunately, I can already tell poor cable management, had to nose in instead of tail in, but it'll reach around. Thankfully, it's warm enough that the cable's pliable enough. Let's get her plugged in. Maybe. I hate when these old stations. There we go. Wait for the blue. We got blue. Let's come over here. That's actually why I picked this spot, because I didn't want to share with that lyric and we wouldn't get anything. So see how she ramps up. We came in 8% state of charge. I was ready for this one. Every time it honks at me when I do this. 85, 182, there we go. We're going, keep going. You're looking, I'm looking here. 139. I may not be. It's a little cooler today, so my battery may not be up to temp, but we'll take it. 139, 140 kilowatts. Let's back away here and give a run through around the station. You got Dobbs, not a big deal. You got Aldi. Let's in the coffee shop. Great coffee. Across the street, there's an Andy's, there's a Schnucks, so McDonald's. So there's places to get food, but I guess there is 24-hour, duh. We've got Circle K. So that actually gets it a full cup for amenities. The pricing is ridiculous. It's over 50 cents plus session fees, but thankfully I've got credits and other things. I don't have to worry about the session fees. So it's not going to get a cut for pricing. We're not too far from the highway, I think. I'm going to have to look at the map and verify, but I think that's, I can see 270, so it'll get that cup. Speed, instead of 350 kilowatt stations, you got 3 of them, dual port, and then interestingly, you got 2 lower 150 kilowatt stations here, which is where the bolts should have just plugged into. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, 100 kilowatt max. And those still have CHAdeMO. So this is a little bit of a good site for everyone. I said, honestly, those 2 bolts should have plugged in over here and left the heavier, but once again, I can't pull enough to hurt the bolt either. Oh, it's also Jersey Mike's over that way, so plenty of places to get food. 24 hours, so you got bathrooms at the Circle K. And as bad as the kilowatt hour pricing is, it's still better than the gas pricing. Walgreens have Chick-fil-A, Mod Pizza, so this is a really good location. So actually this one will rate up pretty good. It's mostly going to lose on price. And speed, distance, price. Oh, big fat 0 for trash cans, canopies, and squeegees. So that's 3 right there it loses. Let me double check that there's not a trash can that I would, because I'm kind of rating it where they got to be pretty close. Yeah. I mean, gas stations within reason. But I said that counts for the trash can, but I'm not carrying a squeegee across the whole freaking parking lot. So anyway, I'm going to be charging up here for a bit, make it to the next station. But I'm glad I found this. It's kind of weird, like I said, weird having the Commerce Bank across the street with that really crappy charger, and then you got these, and this whole time I am charging. Oh, thought I wasn't recording. Anyway, there I am. Not sure why my lights are, proximity. Let's take a look at the charging screen, make sure we're still moving along here. Yeah, 111 kilowatts still plugging away. That's not great, but it's what it should be doing. So I will probably wrap this one up. I'll get in the car, see how much I need to get to the next location. Getting ready to unplug here. I'm at 25%. That's more than enough to get through the next 2 stops. I'll charge up the last one to get home. But yeah, I looked up pricing real quick here. 99 cents just to plug in, and 59 cents a kilowatt hour peak right now. So this, thankfully, like I said, I got some EVgo credits, so I'm not paying for this, but I better get unplugged before I run out of credits. Got a little delayed leaving. Was having a nice chat with the lady next to me in the Bolt. Noticed I was filming, and we're talking about charging stations and stuff. That's what we do. One thing I wanted to bring up, and I remembered it when I was talking with her, was this will be an interesting site because you've got the Circle K right there. And as we've discussed, Circle K, Iona, something strange is afoot at the Circle K, and hopefully it's cheaper charging because there's not a lot in this area for everyone, and listen, prices here are stupid. So hopefully this does become an Iona station and they get a little bit of relief. That will be one to keep an eye on. All right, now I'm getting on to the next one. So the second stop here is in Crestwood off of Watson Road, Sappington Square. Quick amenities check. There's really not much. There's a Mexican restaurant. I can't read the name from here. There's a Starbucks. If you want to run across the street, you got Andy's and Deerberg's. But I'm not seeing anything that would qualify for a 24-hour setup. I guess 3 stations, 6 stalls. Those 2 are CCS, and to me, it's something new. This one has double NACS. So, what do you know? Look at that. NACS. These look a little newer than the last ones. Same 350 kilowatt GM Energy there, so they're not Ultium technically like the old ones. Once again, pricing is absolute robbery. 69 cents for highest on the for peak charging, 99 cents just to plug in. I mean, there's time of use pricing, but I always rate on highest price. So it's a shame because it's a good location once again. It's nowhere near the interstate, so it's going to lose on that. This one's going to rate really low. It'll get 1 cup for, I guess, the Starbucks in the Mexican restaurant. And that's really about it. I parked over there. I'm not plugging in here. I'll plug in at the next one and use up the rest of my credits. That few minutes I was plugged in at the first one cost me over $8 in my credits. I only got $6 left. What makes this worse, especially with the pricing, is you're not that far from Wally's with 39-cent Iona or the Tesla station there. So it's good this is here, but man, EVgo has got to do something about their pricing. I mean, I know anyone watching in California is like, what do you mean bad pricing? Yeah, that's bad pricing, especially around here. So I'm not going to hang out here too long. There's not really much to see, much to do. Don't need to charge. Just wanted to show this one. I thought it was interesting because it's the only one that has the NACS stations, which is a good thing, but can't say it got too much. The pricing. Ugh. So one more stop on this slight whistle stop tour. And so I said it's one that has just a slightly different form factor, but it matches the other two that I'm just not bothering with because it'll just get repetitive. So I will be back in a few minutes of the next one. Third stop here is Southfield Center in Melville off of Lindbergh, not far from Ronnie's Cinema, if you're familiar with the area. We got Freddy's right across, so you got food, that's good. You got a Schnucks, always seems to be a Schnucks. And here we go. It's a little different form factor. It's just the one 350 and then the two old CHAdeMO 100 kilowatt stations. So not too different, but I believe the other two stations are about the same. So I'm going to get plugged in here, use up my last $6 in charging credits, and get unplugged because I don't want to pay their prices. And we'll talk about it once we get set up here, if I can get plugged in with one hand. Yeah, that was easier than... Let's make sure she fires up. Hard to see in the light. And... all right, interesting because in PlugShare was noted there were issues and I could not get either of the 350s to connect, but I moved over to this little dinky one, the 100, and it's connected so I can at least get enough juice to get home, get my $6 worth. Hopefully they didn't charge me 99 cents every time I tried to plug it in. Otherwise I'm already out of money. So we're charging. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it on here. 68 kilowatts. This is awful. Honestly, I could make it home with 4% if I unplug now, or I could just go to Wally's and... But I'll try and get about 5 minutes worth, try and use up my credits, because I don't know whenever else I'll use an EVgo station. Like I said, there's Freddy's right there, so I could go get food. There's a Schnucks. There's probably some other stuff I'm not noticing. Nails, Jersey Mike's. So pricing, nothing. Canopy, trash cans, squeegees, nothing. Distance from highway, nothing. It's miles off of any sort of interstate. You guess a cup for having the Freddy's and stuff right there. So not a good look, especially, like I said, PlugShare. It did say there had been problems recently, and yeah, I couldn't get either of the 350s. I tried both plugs. And if you go back to my one-on-one video and I tell you troubleshooting, keep trying plugs, move your car. Make sure, I was worried it was my car for a second, so I'm glad I did get plugged in. But with that, I'll have to double check if the pricing's any cheaper on these slower ones. I think it might be, but it's still too much because there's still a 99-cent session fee just to plug in. Ridiculous. So I don't know how long I'll be here. It's 8 miles from Wally's. It's convenient. It's important to have infrastructure, but at these prices, it's almost predatory to charge this much. And once Iona proliferates, once Walmart proliferates, EVgo's got to do something about this. Even the lady I was talking to at the first station said she's constantly messaging and calling EVgo, telling them they've got to get their prices down. They're just robbing people. And that might be hinting towards a future video there too. So make sure you subscribe if you want to not miss any of my upcoming videos. Yeah, had to do it. Either way, I'm going to sit here looking at my car for a few minutes, get some juice, and get out of here before it costs me too much. And we will wrap it up with the Amped Americano Index back home. Real quick before I finish up, I wanted to check, 56 cents a kilowatt hour for 100 kilowatt max charging that I didn't even get, and I should have, because at this low of a state of charge, I should be getting more than 69 kilowatts. So it is what it is, but I'll have some thoughts during the wrap up. Well, that was an interesting one. I started out the video thinking I'd failed you by just not knowing that those stations were there. And now at the end, I feel like I failed you by not warning you against those stations earlier. Kind of the same thing, but I had higher hopes going in. But after what we saw, I can't really recommend any of them. I think there's better options. So get through the scores here real quick. The Maryland Heights Dorset Square location is the highest rating of them all. It gets 1 for their ban trash can, I guess, at the gas station. You could argue me 1 for the squeegees, but to carry a squeegee back and forth that far from a gas station, you might think you're stealing it because you're taking it off property. Locations 2, because it's right off 270. It gets 2 for speed. Yeah, 2 for speed, that's full. Those are 350s plus a couple 100s that those bolts should have been using. 2 for amenities, because they got the Shell station right there, 24 hours. Big fat 0 for price. All these EVgo stations are borderline predatory with their prices. Unless you get the membership, there's ways to get it down, time of use pricing, but my rating is based on the most that someone would pay just driving up with no preparation. So, big fat 0. Giving it a total of 7, which surprisingly puts it middle of the pack-ish, but that pricing alone is almost worth a negative. Then the Crestwood location, the second one in Sappington Square, gets 0 for trash cans, squeegees, and canopies. I didn't see a trash can anywhere unless you walk all the way over to that Starbucks or something, and I don't... it wasn't obvious enough. 1 for location, it is technically within 2 miles of an interstate at 270 right there. 2 for speed. They're all going to get 2 for speed. Well, this one gets 2 for speed. 1 for amenities. There are some things. There's a Starbucks there if it's open and you buy something, you can use their bathroom. That's a Starbucks thing. And 0 for price. Like, none of these are going to get anything for price. It's. I can't say enough how much I despise their pricing structure. And to know that there's another new location going in Bridgeton just irks me. So that gets a 4, which puts it right towards the bottom. But not the bottom, because the bottom's next. The bottom is the Southfield Center one. In technically St. Louis, kind of Melville area. It gets 1, because I got the Freddy's right there, which provided a trash can plus the grocery store. But no squeegees, no canopies. 1 for location. It is within less than 2 miles from... I think it was 44. I mapped it out on Google Earth. Speed, I'm giving it a 0 because the 350s, both of them wouldn't connect. And so I had to use the 100, which is a 0. It has to be 150 to get at least 1 cup. 1 for amenities, because you got the Freddy's right there, but nothing 24 hours. 0 for price, big surprise, giving us a grand total new bottom dweller of 3. And I don't know what else to say. I'm disappointed in myself for not knowing they were there, myself for not telling you about them earlier, and EVgo for their pricing. Because the last 2, like I said, are within a reasonable driving distance of Wally's. I know, because I left the 3rd one and went to Wally's just to get enough charge to get home, because I ran myself kind of dry. But yeah, that's it. That's about, that's all I can come up with. So, all the same, call to action at the end. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. I got other great videos coming down the pipeline. Give this one a like. Jump in the comments. Let me know. Am I being too harsh about the pricing? I don't think I am. I just think it's ridiculous. And I am going to delve into DC fast charger pricing, which will kind of further that point. So let's once again subscribe so you don't miss that video that's coming. With that, I think I've beat EVgo down enough. I'll see you on the next one.